Now, Ben, can you take me through exactly what's required to become a security guard in New South Wales, the number of hours, the cost of training, and any special qualifications that are required?
All right, to become a security officer in New South Wales, it's a bit of a lengthy process. Essentially, you make an application, you then submit it to a criminal history check. Essentially what SLED, or Security Licence Enforcement Director, are looking for is no previous criminal history, particularly in the last 10 years, certainly for any indictable offences. Once you go through that, you then apply to a training organisation to sit through the Certificate 2 in Security Operations. So at this stage it's about a 7 to 10 day course, lasts for about 80 hours, and at the end of that, that allows you then to get a Class 1A, a Class 1C and potentially a Class 1G licence, which allows you to be an unarmed guard, crowd controller and retail security. As far as cost goes, you're looking anywhere between probably $600 and $800.
Now, Ben, can you take me through what are the necessary qualifications to become a guard in Queensland? I've heard that it's only a 2-day course.
Yeah, look, unfortunately, that seems to be the case up in Queensland. Look, they still have a Certificate 2 in Security Operations. However, it is a nationally recognised course, and they're managing to do it in 2 days, and in some cases one. I believe that if you have a previous first aid qualification from any other state, you can get basically recognition of prior learning. It's then a 1-day course in some cases where people can go up, do the 1 day, do their fingerprints, they get their certificate and essentially can get a Queensland licence.
Now, can you explain to us the P or Provisional class licensing system?
Right, a few years ago they decided to change a few things in the industry and introduce the P class, or the Provisional licensing system. The idea behind this was for new entrants into the security industry in New South Wales to gain experience working for a master licence holder in New South Wales under the supervision of a fully licensed security operator. It did create a few problems. Essentially the first one and the main one was having the great big red P stamped on their security licence, which basically became a target. So the general public realised that these were new entrants into the industry, probably didn't have the experience, didn't have the knowledge or the training, and so particularly in your crowd control, pub, club sort of event security, became targets then for undesirables, essentially. The other issue was it created a bit of a strain on security companies with supervision. So you required a supervisor with a full operator licence to basically be in direct line of sight attendance with these provisional guards at all times. So if they needed to leave, even for a simple toilet break, it then obviously put them in breach of the current legislative requirements.
Now, Ben, I've heard that it's an industry rumour that some security guards are simply transferring their Queensland licences over to New South Wales licences. Have you heard of this happening?
Yeah, look, this started some years back actually in Canberra. They used to go down to the ACT, do a 2-day training course down there, come back up to New South Wales and get the licence. That seems to have been stamped out, or certainly reduced, and now Queensland have got in on the act. So the whole idea now is they can go up, they do their 1 or 2 day course, they do their fingerprints, get the certificate, get their licence, and then through what they call mutual recognition, they can then get the licence in New South Wales. Now, mutual recognition is actually available for any other state, but the other states are actually doing longer training and going through the actual requirements. So once you do the 2-day course, you get your licence, you get mutual recognition in New South Wales. The real downside to that is that you then bypass the whole provisional licensing requirement and you can get a full operator licence straight away.
Now, Ben, do you consider inadequate training to be a security risk for security guards? Now, what are some of the OH&S issues that could come up, and why is it so important to have a properly trained security guard?
Yeah, look, definitely. The role of a security guard, it really is important. I think the general public really aren't aware of exactly what it is that we do. We're the frontline crime prevention, basically, and in all due respect to the police, who do a wonderful job, we're the ones on the ground that are basically stopping crime and dealing with it. Unfortunately, we don't have all the powers of police, but there's still a number of pieces of legislation that we do need to be aware of, and that security guards do need to be trained in things like Law Enforcement Powers Responsibilities Act, the Liquor Act, Enclosed Lands Act, for example, and certainly the new work health safety laws. Now, in 2 days, you can't go through that. And it's essentially putting people's lives at risk. So the role of a security guard is basically for protection of lives, protection of assets, and without the proper training, they're not putting just themselves at risk, but everybody else as well.
What is the industry saying? Have you heard that there are some traders actually going out of business due to these shonky organisations?
Yeah, definitely. And look, we've seen the results of this. Certainly over the last few years. There are now approximately 26 or 27 registered training organisations in New South Wales who are, most of them abiding by the rules and regulations that are set. But they're now competing with these 2-day courses that people can go through. They don't want to sit through the 7 to 10 days. And the impact is that the last figures that I heard of, there's up to 50% of new entrants in New South Wales are actually going through the Queensland system.
Do you think the industry is suffering because of this?
Yeah, definitely. Look, there have been a number of changes over the years with the security industry, and I think they've all been designed to try and improve the quality of the industry. It started back in 1998, the introduction of the new Security Act and regulations had a big impact. It actually reduced the security numbers almost by half. They tried again in 2008 with new legislation coming in, the new provisional licensing system as well. But people are bypassing it, and so what we're seeing is a reduced quality of the guards that are entering the industry. And at the end of the day, it's having an impact on performance and obviously the safety of people as well.